and also the environment. I'm going to get there at some point. This idea came from the similarities between high quality coffees and wines, and there are loads of works like that, lots of research like that aimed at wine. We have a huge variation in terms of body, aroma, flavor, complexity, depending on the combination of these three main things, like we have in wine. And they are produced in small quantity in each harvest. Okay, you have the big lots for coffee and have the reserve for wine. So we have this. And regarding flavor and aroma complexity, the number of volatiles in coffee is even higher than in wine. In wine we have around 600 to 800, and in coffee we have more than 1,000. And when we get a very nice bottle of wine, we pay sometimes lots of money, to get this reserve wine. And we are concerned about the service, Of course, you don't need to be that picky, but you're going to have a glass for red wine, one glass for white wine, one glass for sparkling wine, and if you go to a wine bar, you expect to have that, to get a nice bottle of wine with a pairing of the vaso with the sensory profile. And coffee is just like, wow, I got this very amazing, expensive micro lot, and just get any cup. It doesn't make sense. So we started to develop some studies to see if there is an effect of the shape, color, and all of these things I already said in the perception of taste. So this is the research. The name of the research we are developing, it's called the Coffee Sensorium. So it is a collaboration between the University of São Paulo, where I am at the moment. I'm doing my postdoc there, with Professor Charles Spence from the University of Oxford. He's been studying the effect of external factors in wine, in beer, in whatever. He's consultant for McDonald's, for Unilever, for lots of big ones, and well, he knows what he's doing. So I contacted him and said, please, can you supervise me? And he said, yes, I can. I said, woo, let's do it. And then I contacted Tim. I said, hi Tim, can you provide cups for my first test to see if the cup shape can affect flavor? And he said, yes. And I said, let's do it. So this was the first test I carried out. So we test the effect of the tulip split and open cups in perception of aroma and basic tastes. This was done in Brazil during the International Coffee Week last year. I tested both amateur consumers and experts, right? This is the description we have from the website, but this thought that the cup can direct the liquid towards a certain part of the tongue, nobody could ever show it, demonstrate it, because there are variations on the amount of liquid I put in my mouth, the movement I make with my lips and my tongue. So is it always the same? And the two people who talk about that, the two scientific people who talk about that, one says that the bulbous shape will direct towards the middle of your tongue, because it's like that, but the other one said it's going to direct towards the posterior part of your tongue, because you have to tilt your head more. So it comes a lot of liquid in one go, mainly in the posterior part of your tongue, where most people are more sensitive to acidity, right? So there are contradictions there. So this is the article, it's already available, and these are the results. I think I'm a little bit over there. Okay, okay. So the three shapes, 125 amateur consumers, 151 experts, and this is what we found. The aroma was perceived higher in the bulbous cup, this chili cup. Sweetness and acidity higher in the split cup, this one. But look at liking. It was liked less. And then I said, well, there is an expertise effect in there. And yeah, there was an expertise effect. When I split amateur and professionals, we see that people who lower the bar for liking were the amateur ones, because people in Brazil, actually they didn't recognize it as a cup of coffee. They, you know, we are not Scandinavia, so I'm not used to this kind of things. And I heard people during the test say, oh gosh, this looks like a flower pot. And I was, oh my God, there will be an effect in there. So the thing is, it was functionally better because it enhanced sweetness and acidity of the coffee. But the amateur consumers liked less because of the shape, because of this aesthetic factor, which is important too. It was not recognized as, you know, the internal model of cup couldn't recognize that as a cup. So, yeah. And the second test I've done, I tested 278 amateur consumers. Now on the expectation and also perception, so pre-tasting and post-tasting, of two different coffee profiles. In that first test of the cup shape, it was one coffee only, right? Here I tested two. It was a Brazil, a sweet coffee, and a acidic coffee, basically speaking. And 4 colors now. And I asked, how sweet do you expect this coffee to be? And then they tasted it, how sweet do you perceive this coffee? Right? And that's what we get. Well, these are very new results. I haven't discussed it yet, but I'm still interpreting it. We can see that regarding sweetness, it was mostly expected in the pink cup. So if I put a coffee in a pink cup, I will set up people to expect sweetness in that coffee. Whereas if I put a coffee in a green cup, I am priming people to expect acidity in that coffee. Right? And this is the actual perception of the Brazilian and the Kenyan coffee. We can see, yes, Brazilian coffee was perceived as sweeter as the Kenyan coffee and less acidic than the Kenyan coffee. But let's see the effect of the cup colors. It was perceived as sweeter in the pink cup and less sweet in the green cup. And regarding acidity, there is a strange effect here with the green and the white cup. I have to think what happened here. I don't know. And it was liked more in the pink cup because those things go together, right? You have pink and sweet, and the brain is happy because of that. And with the Kenyan, sweetness was perceived higher in the yellow cup and acidity in the pink cup. That was really odd. But you're going to see why. And it was liked more in the green and in the yellow cups. But look at this. When I calculate the difference between the expectation rate and the actual perception rate, I see a correlation between the liking rates and how much far off was expectation from reality, right? So this is regarding the sweetness, expectation, and perception. The thing is, if the person expects the coffee to be sweet, and they have a Kenyan coffee there, they will say, oh my God, this is so acidic, just like the salmon ice cream, that they felt it really salty. it happened here. Well, it's pink, it must be sweet. But then it's just, oh my God, so acidic, much more than it actually is, you know. And with the Brazilian, we saw the same effect regarding acidity, but now with the green cup. So you are priming the person to perceive acidity, and then you give them a no acidic coffee, a sweet coffee. So the acidity was perceived as very, 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 very low. You know, what an unbalanced coffee. And people liked it less. And that was really, really nice. So it seems that there is an effect when you pair the color that suggests the main attribute of that coffee. I'm nearly there. So this is a study we are going to get started next week. It is an online study on specialty coffee. It's going to be available for 25 countries so far. So the link to the test will be hosted at the University of Oxford website. I'm going to advertise it through social media, and there are lots of coffee shops in each one of these 25 countries which are going to help me out. So there is a chance that you guys are going to run across the advert. So you can click on the link and then get started with it. So it's only on expectation, right? Because it'll be online, I cannot give you a coffee to taste there. Okay, so that's it. Thank you very much. I would like to thank my university. I'd like to thank the University of Oxford and Professor Charlesman for the supervision, Tim Wendelbo, Felipe from Brazil, Mariana from Brazil, and Diego from Brazil too. They've been supporting me since the beginning. So thank you very much.